If you're ever stitching along and you see some of your white bobbin thread coming up to the top side, you want to stop immediately and adjust the thread portioning, or as you probably know it to be, tension. So what we want to do is that we always want the bobbin thread to be tighter. It needs to pull the color thread from the top to the back side. That's really easy to see when you've got satin stitching, because you'll see kind of a halo of the color where you see my blue around the middle area that is white. And so we know that none of that white thread is showing on the top side. That is really what you want to see. So when you look over here, we do see blue thread and we see it really well, but sometimes when there's lines, single outlines, you want to make sure that you really get that, that you don't see any of the white thread coming up. On occasion, when you're doing a black outline, I will sometimes put black bobbin thread in the machine. And then that way, because of the way your stitch is made, you always are going to be, this is going to be your bobbin thread, you're always going to see that little link in the hole that's created by the needle. So even if the light is kind of reflecting, even though the bobbin thread is not being pulled to the top side, sometimes you'll see that little white dot, and you don't want that. So when it's high contrast like white and black, I sometimes, if I'm going to see it, maybe switch your bobbin to black, and that's super easy to do, and it really gives the best results. So sometimes knowing when to cheat and how to cheat really will make your design look awesome. So let's say you've got some white thread pulling to the top side. What you're going to do is go over to the thread portioning system. It's going to show 50, and we're going to reduce that down. It's going to come down in steps of 5. So the next touchdown is going to go to 45, and then go ahead, you can go down to 40. This machine really does take care of getting those two threads to really balance out, especially as you go over maybe applique areas or thicker fabrics or fur. There's all sorts of things. But if you need to, this is where you're going to do it. If you're getting way too much thread of the blue thread, for example, pulled to the back side, that might be where you might need to tighten that up just a little bit. So you do want to see some of your bobbin thread on the back, kind of that 1/3 and then 2/3 of your blue color. So just don't be afraid of that. If you haven't had your machine serviced in a long time, we're talking like maybe you're going on 2 years of not getting your machine serviced, shame on you. You should have it in once a year. Things loosen up, and you probably will start to need to adjust your tensions more just because it hasn't been serviced and kind of brought back to the factory settings. So make sure if you're starting to alter this a lot more, get it into your service center for its annual tune-up, and I promise you, you'll be back to normal without having to fuss with this at all.